This
And
conference will now be recorded.
I'm joined tonight by District Governor John Reyes, District Governor nominee designate David Jones, and our district trainer, Ryan Knotts. It looks like we have a large group of people that have joined. I'm really pleased to see all of you. We've been busy on the district level and the lead committee in particular in reviewing all of the surveys that you did after Pets2 we thought we would take a few minutes to review some of the things we did at Pets2 and then to encourage you to talk back and forth, ask questions anytime. Break in, don't hesitate. Let's have this be a town hall type conversation so that we can share information with each other. So first, I'd like to know, at Pets2 we use the Leadership Self-Compass Assessment. What did you learn? Have you used it with your board? Or use some of the things you learned about yourself when you did the tool? I'd be curious to see if anybody used that again.
Carrie and I talked about it a little bit in a meeting that we had together, but not with the club at large.
Okay.
And I think
How did that go?
Well, what we're trying to do is create continuity for the president, from Annie, who's our past president, Carrie's the current president, to me, the president-elect, so that there's some continuity so that there's some expectations of, they started a great newsletter, and we're conducting the meetings kind of all in a similar manner now. So I've been paying very close attention and thinking about how Annie created it and did her meetings, so that so we don't have like ups and downs. So maybe that it's helped to kind of smooth that out, to talk about it.
Oh, that's great. That sounds like a great plan. I agree. Annie's newsletter was wonderful.
Right. And series are even better. And I'm like, they have to teach me a lot about technology, but it'll be after April 15th. But that has really worked out well.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
how about anybody else? I see Scott has joined us.
I'm here.
Okay, good. Has anybody else thought about what you learned with the compass about yourself and looking at your team and who you want to have on your team next year? How about the session on leading through positive, lasting change? Have you thought about anything you're going to be changing in your clubs, or starting the process of change? And have you introduced any new ideas?
Now, we're going to look to do our board meetings differently, and I'm hoping to grow the club, so we'll need to move to a new location.
Aha. That's always an interesting challenge, but it seems like a lot of clubs are doing it. I think it's becoming a little more comfortable.
So, Scott, what do you anticipate any resistance with that potentially?
I don't think so, being that I've already talked to the caterer and there may be another hoop for us to jump through, but we're maxed out in our space right now, and if we brought in even 2 or 3 more good Rotarians, we just can't fit them in the room anymore. And I'm talking to the caterer. He was 100% on board to. He's brought us breakfast before at a separate location, and he said to me, "Oh, I'll do that every week. That's not a problem. The only drawback is that we have to clean up after ourselves, which I'll deal with that somehow, some way, either through a committee or I'll volunteer somebody to do it each week, and then." But we just can't stay where we're at with the and grow the club the way I want to grow it. And then I'm going to introduce to see if they, maybe some board meetings we can do, another breakfast or something, and maybe free up another night for people that have such busy schedules, including myself.
So you've talked to the caterer. Have you talked to anybody within the club or on your board yet about that potential change?
I've run it past a couple folks, and just in conversations, if that we're we want to grow, this isn't going to work, and I'm sure we'll get some resistance. There's always people don't like change.
Yeah.
But our space right now is just we're maxed out. And it's just kind of snug, and to try to bring in some new folks into that space, I'm just not sure is conducive to. I'm not going to just do it to do it, but if we have some good interest to grow the club, then I've got the legwork partially done on the possibilities to do it.
Well, that's good. And you said you're using the same caterer.
At this juncture,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that ought to help with the change. They're just changing for a little bit more space.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, for a lot of you, as far as there may be no changes necessary. Your club may be doing fantastic. It may be growing membership year over year. You must have the most fantastic fundraisers, the best PR, the best meetings, and you want to keep that up. But for a lot of us, we get pulled into this leadership position, and as we think about how can we leave our mark, part of that is what can we help our Rotarians do better in our clubs to impact more people. So for a lot of presidents-elect, it's as you're developing your goals, it's thinking about what is attainable. And so a lot of the time that we spend on training and leadership development is like, how do you identify those potential changes? And then also, how do you basically get others to buy in? Because I know if it's anything like my experience as club president a few years ago, there's going to be some changes that you're going to get some pushback on, as far as that's a normal part of life. But how do you work to get your team to either say, yes, it's a great idea, or no, we've gotten our feedback and we're not going to pursue this avenue at this time? So we're curious tonight to hear as far as what some of those potential changes that you're planning, but also as far as how do you anticipate getting that accomplished? Because we know through feedback, you value hearing from your peers. You value hearing from what each other's doing. So we're looking for that feedback now and also throughout the rest of this evening's webinar.
So has anyone else encountered any roadblocks or pushbacks with some ideas? I love how you're thinking creatively. I think that's important.
I was going to change. I wanted to change the date, and I got shot down worse off than Nagasaki. It was so bad. I thought I was going to run me on the rails right then and there, impeach me, but I listened, and we're staying on Tuesdays.
Okay. Anyone else?
We did just change in Jefferson. Actually, tonight I skipped out on our meeting, probably the last meeting in over at least 50 years in the church for dinner. We're now going to meet in a local coffee shop. That was a kind of a unanimous decision among our club. We're fortunate with our small club. If we have 8 people there, and it was a unanimous decision to move our meeting location.
Good for
So there
you,
wasn't,
Frank.
although we do, I think it was bittersweet because, at least personally, I know I sure enjoyed the church, but it has been a point of discussion for years. And like you said, the change of the date, the club never changed the date, but at one time our club did change meeting times, and it cost us members because of that. And it cost me as a member, and I'm back now because we have gone back to the old meeting times. But like I said, with the small club, there wasn't a lot of pushback. Everyone bought in. And so starting in March, we're going to be at a new location, new format, and so we're all looking forward to it.
Oh, sometimes I found it can be very invigorating, and the members actually become more active with just a positive change like you're doing. And the coffee shop idea sounds like a good one.
Yeah, we did a trial run, and before we decided on that, we looked at some other venues. We tried some other options over the last 6 months or so, and we really found it. I think it's going to work out well for us there. Now, if our numbers double, we could be looking for another venue again. Hey, we'll deal with that bridge when we get there.
Yes, that's a good challenge. Huh? How about anyone else?
This is Jennifer. Well, unfortunately, I didn't have an opportunity to be at Pets. I've worked with our current president as well as Adam Sunhalter on this transition, and one of my goals is to keep the ship sailing, building on some of the initiatives that our current president put in place. And my focus, one of the things I recently started was using Club Runner. One of the things areas I want to focus on this next year is how we're marketing our club in the community to better engage people in the community when we're at community events, making sure we're standing out and people know what Rotary does, as well as looking for additional opportunities for us to be of service. So that's kind of short and sweet what we're looking at.
Oh, good. I know your club has had some real active growth, as I recall, and it seems to be very involved with a number of areas. So I'm pleased you're carrying that on. That sounds good.
So for those who were at Pets1, and we'll be posting these on the website, but as far as we basically, as far as we had the leadership self-confidence, we had also as far as the Renovator's Delight, but also on the Learning Center on RI's website, you basically have the opportunity to go through the President-elect course, and there's a module that's probably less than 30 minutes that takes you through leading change. So as far as that's something that you can also take a look at, and it's basically how do you get others to have buy-in to what you're trying to do, and how do you overcome different personalities and if you encounter any resistance.
What site is
I'd be
that
curious,
on?
has anybody used the Renovator's Delight? Or did you find that useful?
see where that is.
Oops, looks like we. I think someone's trying to talk.
What site is that on exactly?
So if you go to Rotary.org, Rotary International's website, this is where, as far as a president-elect, you'll be entering goals. You can see information on yourself, your giving history, you can track certain things. There's a lot of resources in the Learning Center. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, but the Learning Center has a lot of online courses that you can either take individually, or you can download materials, whether you are a club secretary, a president-elect, or if you're not sure how to start a Rotaract or Interact club. There's online courses, a myriad of them on there. But this would be through Rotary.org.
Yeah, I can tell you that I have not checked those out personally. I've had a few things that have kind of taken some priority, but I will definitely look at that. I love all the resource material that's been available. That Carrie and I are talking on Monday, so I'll see what she's been using on that site also.
So if you search for the Learning Center at Rotary.org, you'll come up with basically a lot of courses for yourself, and that you can also share for others. So if you have a new treasurer, it can kind of give them a head start in addition to learning from the prior treasurer.
Okay, perfect.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Has everybody got their leadership team filled out?
Yeah. We're still working on our president-elect for my term. We're having a difficult time identifying someone who will have passion and really cares and is very sensitive to not making snide female remarks, and so we're working on it.
I know for some clubs, as far as they determine that chain of presence a few years in advance, and other clubs are still filling them basically the spring before their year. But I think it takes a lot as far as just reaching out and asking people and saying, hey, you would be great at this. We could really value your leadership to help us. And obviously sometimes we're going to get told no, and that might be the best response. But other times, as far as it's really sharing a good story where you're saying this is what we'd like to accomplish during the year, and this is how you can be a part of that to help us be successful, because we need you on that.
Right.
Steve, do you have yours set up? I see you've joined us.
Yeah, I do. We set it up right after the first of the year.
Okay. And Steve Buginski has joined us. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. We need to, one thing that you have to, I assume you're working toward, are putting your goals into the Rotary International website, into your website. Have you done that yet? Have you started looking at them?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'll work on that coming up.
Okay.
So for some of you, as you are have already determined your leaders, it's important to update Club Runner. Most of the clubs in the district are using that tool. And for Club Runner, it'll automatically upload to RI's website. Now, there are a few clubs that are not able to do that, but for probably about 95%, you'll basically edit the club executives in the membership section for the 2020-2021 year, and that will filter up to Rotary International, which enables Rotary International to push out information that's topic specific, whether you're the membership chair, the PR chair, or the club president. But as you're filling out your team, that's one of the tasks, is basically identifying those individuals in Club Runner and making sure that they get in there so that we're all working together and they're getting those useful resources.
Mhm.
We went ahead and did our team. We did it as a whole club.
You're going to have an opportunity when you come to the district conference for the district leadership assembly to sit with your team and work together on goals. This will be an important time to have your whole team there. So if you can start identifying your team members and then having them sign up for the district conference, and in particular the district leadership assembly, that will be very helpful. You'll find that helpful during your year.
Okay.
So for those who have been working at this already, part of it, as we've talked about with Pets1, was just looking at your own leadership style, how you interact with others, and hopefully building a team that is able to work together, but it's not necessarily all yes people. So in other words, there are some different opinions, but how do you work with them together to make those plans for your year and setting those goals and finding that leadership team to be successful for you and for your club? So as we transition, tonight's webinar is going to focus on basically club evaluation. And part of this is it's trying to give you tools that will enable you to be successful in your role. And some of these tools you might take advantage of, and you might say, hey, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Other tools you're like, that really doesn't apply to me or my club. I'm not really going to pay attention right now because I've got other things on my plate I've got to take care of. But the idea behind it is really trying to figure out what's the data that you're using to drive the goals that you're setting and how you're going to be successful. So we're going to go over a few tools that are available, and we will email these out. This is our second and our last webinar for Pets2, but we'll be emailing out a survey along with several PDFs that you can choose to either use or disregard. That's up to you, but we at least want to make sure you're aware of some of the tools that can help you be successful. So as we think about evaluation to drive results, question number one is, how do you know if your club is healthy? How do you know if it's firing on all cylinders, or if there's a few leaks somewhere that you need to pay special attention to? I think about, as far as different leadership styles, there might be a president that's great at membership and ignores the minutia. They don't worry about the details, and maybe that's something that you have strengths in and something you'll focus on, or vice versa. But how do you know if your club is healthy? How do you know if your members enjoy Rotary? Are they having a good time? We talk a lot about membership and how we want to recruit and retain new members. I think a lot of clubs bring new members in, but the problem is that we might lose those members within a short period of time because they're not finding the right fit or the right value in our club. In other words, they're not getting out of it what they need to find it fulfilling. How do you know if your club is attractive to prospective members? So a lot of us talk about where we want to be, but as far as, are we sending the right messages to gain those members? Are we looking in the right places? How do you define success? So far, what information have you used to set goals for 2020, 2021? And I know a lot of you are still working on this, which is fine. You've got probably about a little bit over 4 months at this point before your year starts, but what information have you used? Is it just your observations? Is it anecdotal, or do you have some other form of data that's been helpful for you as you've taken a look at what you want to accomplish?
he's typing in. How's that?
So Stephen, I have a question for you. How are you bringing in newer, younger members?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we tried to get out in the public as much as possible by doing community service projects. We served dinner and lunch to seniors. Even going out and ringing the bell during Christmas time at the Giant Eagle seemed to help. We had a lot of people, ask about Rotary.
Can you speak up a little bit, Stephen?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Much better.
All right. I have my cell phone and it's kind of echoes back at me now. So a lot of the community service projects have been really helping because people see that and they want to know more about Rotary. So
You're going in a little bit in and out, Stephen, unfortunately.
Sorry about that. We also do the Safety Town.
Okay.
That brings a lot of kids in and a lot of people coming. Of course, they want to know more about Rotary doing that. So just getting out of the community has really helped people ask questions and want to know more about it.
So through community engagement, you're looking to grow Rotary as far as, and also hopefully get younger Rotarians that builds upon itself and brings other younger Rotarians in.
Absolutely. And we have been getting a lot of younger members because of that.
Oh, good. What are some other examples? Steve?
Let's see.
Facebook. An active Facebook is helping to attract members.
Do you have a group of people monitoring the Facebook?
Yes, we're trying to, and Carrie's been great about this, once a week, highlighting our speakers, the information that, they gave us, a brief outline of their speech, if you will. And lately we've had people just call, stop by the club at a meeting based on Facebook. They like what they see. So I think if you put your actions somewhere in picture form, word form, whatever, I think that also helps engage the community.
Is anyone else using a social media?
This is Jennifer.
Yeah, we've also started a Facebook page too, and I think she's right. That does get the newer members and the younger members involved.
This is Jennifer. Yes, we're using Facebook, and we've created a media team who is going to focus on us, first of all, understanding and using Club Runner, but we want to expand the social media and look at unique ways of maybe using Twitter and other sources like that in order to, again, share what we're doing with the community and capture a younger audience.
Steve Buginski from Nardonia Hills, can you unmute your mic?
It's unmuted.
It is? Oh, okay. Oh, you're all right. You might tell them how you've gained a lot of members. How are you doing that?
Well, again, it's been getting out in the community, and John has done a great job recruiting people. I got to give John Bosco, our current president, a lot of credit for it. But Facebook, social media is something new that we're also using, and that's great for recruiting the younger members. That's for sure.
Mhm.
We've also worked with the Emergency Assistance Center locally in town, and it's surprising people want to help. And when they see Rotary helping their community, they want to be a part of it.
Mhm.
We're trying to work more with the Interact Youth Rotary Club, which, with the high school kids. We have Students of the Month, which brings in a lot of students into our club with their parents, and then their parents get to see what's going on.
Uh-huh.
So, just a lot of different things like that.
And I've noticed the photos that you've had on Facebook, you all have T-shirts on that look alike.
Yeah, and we think that's important too, because a lot of people don't know who you are if you don't advertise it. So that's one thing we did this year is we bought bright blue shirts that says Rotary Club in Nordonia Hills on the front, and that says Rotarians at Work on the back.
Oh, that's...
This way they know exactly who we are.
Mhm.
So Facebook, especially if you're using it, and I'm always curious to hear clubs that are either purchasing ads or boosting their posts, but Facebook gives you a lot of data. It tells you how many people have viewed your post, how many people have liked it, how many people have shared it. It gives you the opportunity to see who that is in some cases. It's a lot of data that can help drive continued efforts or focuses in certain areas.
This is Frank. We've also been regularly posting on Facebook. We've started an Artist of the Month in the high school, bringing in students, their families for dinner, giving an award each month to them. We've also been submitting those awards and other activities into our local newspaper, trying to just get the word out of who we are and what we're doing. And it generates a lot of interest, I think, and there's a lot of positive feedback from it. We haven't seen new members necessarily from that yet. We have had people that want to help with our projects, but are not able to commit the time to fully join Rotary. But they have committed to helping us with different projects. I think that's one step. Then hopefully we can bring them then into the fold. But like everyone in today's age, seems to that everyone is extremely busy.
But that's a step in the right direction if you can create either a service group or a fundraising group that can help you and possibly eventually get them to join Rotary at some point also. And just spreading awareness. I know for me personally, I get a lot of ideas as far as by following the Facebook pages of other clubs who are more active. Whether that's a speaker idea because they're posting that, or as far as service projects and fundraisers, those are ideas that I can bring back to my own club just by seeing what other clubs are doing.
That's a great idea.
Are very many of you meeting at different times, to accommodate some of the people that can't be there during your regular meeting time? Are you having socials in the evening?
Yeah, this is Steve. We haven't had socials in a while, but during the summertime, we would try to have socials at different areas. And when we would have a social, we would try to have it somewhere where we could all be together and be able to talk. We used to go to restaurants a lot, but we were too spread out, and we really couldn't socialize. So we've been trying to do more like somebody's backyard or a park or a picnic. Seems to work a lot better.
Sounds good.
We do quite a bit of socials at Hillcrest, both at restaurants and at people's homes.
I think in Jefferson, we're also, we might have a winery night a few times a year, like a Christmas party, and where everyone brings their families, maybe some extra guests to see who we are. Then we have a corn roast and a hot dog roast. We'll have a steak fry. So we have other social events to where it also includes more than just Rotarians, but also our families and friends as well.
Oh, that sounds
In
like
fact,
fun.
This is Steve again. In fact, this year we're putting together a baseball game at the Rubber Ducks in Akron. In fact, we're going to post it, invite all the Rotary clubs around Northeast Ohio to join us. They do for the Indians game. We're going to do a little smaller one for the Indians coming up in June.
Great. So one of the things, as far as you think about those things and as you listen to one another, one of the tools that you can do to really check out your club is the Rotary Club Health Check. So I'm going to cover briefly tonight, because I believe that you can read this and kind of look at it on your own, but I'm going to cover 4 tools from the Rotary Club Health Check to the Membership Satisfaction Survey to the Membership Plan Worksheet, and finally the Strategic Planning Guide. We love the dialogue. We strongly encourage that. We want you to raise questions. We want you to interact, because we know, versus just being lectured at, we know that you're, again, are going to find more value about hearing what other clubs are doing to be successful. So the Rotary Club Health Check is probably, in my estimation, one of the most comprehensive tools that RI has put together that really looks at your club from multiple areas, whether it be membership, whether it be fundraising, your club meetings, but it really allows you to assess your club. And you can do this multiple ways, as far as you can basically look at it from the point of view of yourself. You can do this as a leadership team. You can look at it in different ways as far as to help figure out where you're going and what you want to do. So there's also an entire module on this in the Learning Center on RI, but this is a tool that I will email out the PDF. It's already on the District 6630 website under the President-elect page, but it allows you to look at different components of the Rotary experience with your club, and as you identify issues that you can improve upon, it also prescribes potential solutions. So as far as, again, this is something that you can just do on your own, or you might do this as a leadership team, or you might try and incorporate this into a larger survey that you could distribute on SurveyMonkey or something else. But at least gives you some data to be mindful of as far as where are we doing well and where can we improve. It's up to you to decide if you want to continue improving on those strengths, or basically if you want to focus on other areas. But again, the idea is that there's data that you can use to basically help you determine what those priorities will be for your year, and if you are working on continuity for years following as you're working together. So as an example, the first one is just the club experience, and so I'm going to ask questions, do people look forward to club meetings? Is your club that you have 50 members and only 10 show up to a meeting? Or is your club that you have 25 people and 20 are showing up to the meeting? What does that look like? As far as, do you have great speakers? Do you have great socials? Are these things that people actually want to do? And are you attracting the right audience to those? So this is just on the club experience as an example, asking a number of questions. And then as you identify areas where you might focus on, it gives you as far as ideas to try. It gives you other tools that you might be able to use. So it gives you possible solutions for that. And this is the Rotary Club Health Check. That was just on the club experience. They have another section on services and socials. They have a section on membership. So have you had an increase, decrease? What's your gender ratio? What's your classifications, age? Different things as far as how are you focusing on membership, and additionally tools that will help you succeed in those areas. So if you're struggling with membership diversity, well, here's a tool that might lead you to some other areas that can help with that. Or if you're struggling with professional diversity, how you might be able to do a classification assessment and build off that. So again, this is just one tool that, again, I think is very comprehensive, but it's something that can at least help guide you if you're not sure where to go and not sure what goals to set. This can help you at least with that process, and you can get others involved with it also. Even again, if this survey is looking at several areas, you might break it up and say, okay, I need my membership area chair to focus on this, or I need my public image chair to focus on this, or my club administration chair. Depending on the level of leadership you have, if they have committees or not, again, this is a tool that can help you assess your club and look for opportunities for that improvement. Who's seen this before? I know that some clubs fill this out and they pass it down from year to year. Has anybody seen the Rotary Club Health Check before?
No.
No.
Okay. So this is a new tool for at least a few people. Has anybody seen this?
Yes. Chester
Yes?
from Menor. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And Chester, as far as how have you seen this? As far as, did you find this on your own? Did the past club president talk about it?
Past club president worked through it, and yeah, we were able to drive some points out for the future year based on which focus we felt would be primary, secondary, and so forth.
Okay.
Kind of helps you focus a little bit more. I mean, there are a lot of things we can all focus on going into our year, and the best way in order to accomplish something is not to be overwhelmed and try to do everything, obviously. So what we use this for is just to help us drive out where the greatest need would be.
And Stephen Atkins, I see you've used it. You've completed it. Was it helpful?
Well, for Menor it was, yes, yeah.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Chester. We're seeing as far as where Stephen's typing, but we haven't heard him speak as much. But Stephen Atkins is basically communicating that their past president basically used it as an interview with all of their members. So that's tool number one that we wanted to highlight tonight. Tool number two would be the membership satisfaction survey. So another tool that you may choose to adopt or not, but allows for you to look at your members as far as, are they getting something out of Rotary that's worthwhile to them? And again, this is something that can be used as far as in person, depending on the size of your club. If you have a smaller club, how hard is it to go out and meet with all of those members individually? If you have a larger club, that might be a much more tougher task. So as far as, is that possibly a survey? I know that during my year as club president, or leading up to that, and we were a medium-sized club, not small, not large, but basically the leadership team broke it down, and that we all took about 3 Rotarians and we interviewed them each. So that was an option to at least get feedback in a personal way, but also as far as it just wasn't on one person. So here's another tool as far as enhancing the club experience. But again, you know, it's a survey that maybe you do vocally, maybe you lead the club through this at a team meeting, maybe you have a club assembly leading up to your year, maybe you pass this out, maybe you put this into a tool like SurveyMonkey. But again, this is something that can help give you data that can basically drive where you want to go, as was previously mentioned. What are those priorities? And again, for membership, we talk a lot about this, but I think the goal there is, at least in my mind, if you have more members, you can do more service. You can raise more funds. You can be more publicity for the great acts that your club is doing. But this is, again, one other tool that at least might give you a little bit more feedback as far as where you're doing well and what you can focus on. And as I mentioned, we will send this out as a PDF attachment, if not by this weekend, early next week. But it gives you more data that you can use planning-wise.
Are those easy to set up on SurveyMonkey? I mean, I don't know how to use SurveyMonkey.
Great question. I am probably a newbie as far as SurveyMonkey. I did get some advice on creating the SurveyMonkey for tonight's evaluation, but who does have some experience with SurveyMonkey?
This is Dave Jones. I've done a lot of SurveyMonkeys, and the nice thing is that they do have templates to help you start. So depending on what kind of survey you are looking for example, he's showing one right now with check boxes. You can put on there how many check boxes you wish to have, and it will create that for you. And then you just start putting the things along the left side on the line. So then all you do is
and then will it add up how many excellents for this line and how many fairs or cores or whatever?
Yeah. The only thing it won't do is if you have written responses, buy the part that will actually read those, but then it gets expensive. But if you have give us your opinion type box, it's better just to read that yourself.
So David, that's a great point. As far as this, I know the district has a SurveyMonkey. Is there a cost to it?
For an individual such as yourself, you're not doing that many surveys. I think up to 500 it's free. So it's a pretty good size number of surveys you can do for free. And then if it starts going out past that, you have to have an account.
But will you get a report that tells you the sum of each of the answers?
It certainly will. So when you create your account, you'll actually create a survey, and then once the survey is completed, all you do is click on a results button, and it'll give you the results and tally each of those responses for you.
Okay, thank you.
And if you'd like, you could even put it in a graph form.
Okay.
Not just a number form.
And SurveyMonkey is one of multiple tools out there. I'm sure there's other tools that you can use. I know a friend that uses Doodle to basically determine just times to meet. But this is, again, something you could obviously hand this out. You could print it and you could tabulate it yourself. But especially if you have a large membership, that's probably not the most productive use of your time. And if nothing else, taking a look at a tool like this could at least give you ideas as far as, okay, you know, my club does a good job of communicating with members. And you can personally assess as president-elect, yeah, they do great, or no, they don't. Now, that's one person's opinion, but that's still data. And as president-elect, that's a very important opinion to have, you know, as far as like that's still data that can help drive things. So,
Adam, do you use it? We happen to have Adam's quite experienced.
Yeah. Hi, Pat. I don't use that tool now. I've used Constant Contact. There's a lot of similarities with the different tools. So.
Okay, Constant Contact. How is that different?
It's a different provider you can do different stuff with in terms of doing emails to blast out. But sometimes it's good to do the old-fashioned paper stuff too. People still fill those things out sometimes too, especially depending on your membership makeup.
Right. That's an excellent opinion as far as the fact that some of our members are not technologically inclined. So as far as you might get a much higher response rate as far as paper and pencil at a meeting or having them bring back to a meeting versus as far as having people go online. So that was tool number 2, the membership satisfaction survey. You know, using that to go from there as far as the membership plan worksheet. A third of the tool that we're going to cover tonight as far as, again, evaluating what your members think, but also taking that data and basically put it into a plan as far as how do you grow? You know, as far as what are you doing to basically attract new members? I think in my club, I'm pretty confident the average age of my club, I think we're one of the younger clubs in the district, is probably about 55. That would be my assumption. And I've gone to some other meetings where it's like, oof, a little bit more senior members. But, you know, we always talk about recruiting newer, younger members to bring new blood, new ideas, people who have the ability. You know, obviously, as far as they need to see representation to be a part of that usually, but what value are you adding to get new members in the club, whether that's networking, whether that's the opportunity to engage in service, or that's the opportunity to have great fellowship with fantastic people. But as far as the membership plan worksheet is another thing that can kind of help guide some of the things that you're doing. So again, another survey, it's not necessarily something you have to fill out for everyone, but maybe it's a tool that you and your leadership team use to basically chart a course as far as what you want to do. But it references some of the other things that we've already talked about and some of those tools, but again, it at least gives you some ideas as far as that you can put pen to paper as you're starting to plot the goals for your year. And this is just basically the membership plan worksheet. It's not horribly long, but again, where do you stand? Where are you at to begin with? Where do you want to go? What does that plan look like as far as that you're building towards? And hopefully, as far as some continuity with that other people agree and are supportive. So I'm curious to hear, and I think others are too, what are some of those ideas? We already heard about Facebook. We also heard about service projects and getting out there. But what are some specific ideas you have to grow membership?
Well, I think you really have to do it by personal invitation. Also, we could do it by having some open houses and inviting, several potential members in and, show them what Rotary's about. And some of that's been successful in the past, some has not, but you can't wait. We got to be selling Rotary all the time. And again, I'm not perfect at it. I'm not even that good at it. I got the last new member I brought in, but I'd like to start setting some serious goals that everybody needs to bring in one new member a year. Not just one. Just one.
Well,
I think what we're going to do is we're going to take another look at our membership dues criteria and see. We're noticing that our due structure is probably one of the highest around. So this is just an initial conversation I had. So I can't get into details on it right now, but I think we have to reevaluate our due structure. And then at that point, we're a lunch meeting. And I think we're going to stay that way. But also it for other clubs, it depends on when you're meeting, whether it's a breakfast, a lunch, or a dinner. We kicked around the idea of a breakfast, but we just always seem to go back to having the greatest impact with the lunches. So it's kind of where we're at.
I know my own club, we started having the second meeting of each month be an evening social at a restaurant. I like the ideas that people are talking about picnics and at homes though too. Whenever we have an event at home, everyone seems to come and have a great time. So I'm wondering if any others are thinking about that. At first there was kickback. At first the members that loved to come every week for lunch, said, oh, I don't know, we'll get all confused. We won't know which week we're supposed to be in the evening and which week we're supposed to be at lunch. But sure enough, they have come around and really enjoy it now that they're used to it. They know the second meeting of every month will be in the evening. Anyone else doing things like that?
You meet at the same place?
Pardon me?
You meet at the same place every evening? The second?
In the summertime, we do. It's out on a patio where it's nice at a restaurant, at Zeppi's restaurant. And in the winter, we've rotated between 2 different places. But of course, during the holidays, we have it in someone's home.
Okay.
Beyond recruiting new members, what ideas do you have as far as how do you retain members? How do you get them involved? What are some excellent things that your club is doing, or at least you're contemplating to keep them as a part?
More interesting speakers, I think, help.
To try and get them involved was to have people, the new members, introduce themselves at the meeting, and tell us what they want to get out of Rotary and how they want to help. That seemed to get people more involved and right away instead of just sitting back and watching what's going on.
So is that a member topic, or is that just a quick introduction before a meeting?
It's a quick introduction. As we get new members, we let them go into a couple meetings, and then we schedule, say, hey, tell us about yourself and tell us what you want to get out of Rotary. It just seems to help because people, they all seem to want to get involved in some way, and they've really come up with some great ideas on what to do. In fact, the one girl, her name's Paige, she's the one that came up with, say, hey, let's have our meeting at an Indians game. So instead of having our normal lunch Tuesday meeting, we're all getting together for, I'm sorry, it said Indians, but I meant the Rubber Ducks. We scheduled a nice Rubber Ducks game in the social.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and are you using service projects too to get people engaged and?
Yeah, absolutely, which I talked about earlier. It just seems like when people see that, I kind of surprised that even when I was ringing the bell at Giant Eagle for during Christmas, I was pleasantly surprised that more people gave than didn't, and more people stop and talk to us and want to know more about Rotary. So, yeah, just getting into the public helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone else was going to comment also? I'm not sure if that was Jen or Linda.
Yeah, we at our meetings we try to have engaging speakers, and we sometimes will advertise them in advance that we hope might generate some outside interest, like on Facebook or something, that people have an idea that we have varied interests that we talk about at our club meetings, and we try to have a list of all our ongoing projects. But we're going to start reviewing the ongoing projects because I think it might be more beneficial if we combine them somewhat so that people don't get so burned out that there's just too many things to go to it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing to put on your survey. Given your current projects, what do you want to keep? What do you want to get rid of?
Right.
What can we do
some
better?
Of them, we outgrow them, or they change.
Thank you so much for your participation so far. We've got a little bit more to go. But the last tool, as far as the strategic planning guide, what clubs, and we heard from a few clubs in our first webinar 10 days ago, but what clubs are actually doing strategic plan or have one?
I don't think we have one.
Okay.
Carrie and
I think we need to work on one also.
We have to work on one.
Who else? Anyone else? Adam, do any of your clubs in your cluster have strategic plans?
So Steve Atkins, you said that your club has a committee. As far as how long has that been going on as far as taking place?
Set up in September. I'm not sure if they've met yet.
Okay, so.
Okay, it sounds like this is an area that people are kind of wanting to do and hope to do.
So for a lot of people, strategic planning can be a little bit cumbersome as far as it can be a lot of work, especially at what level you determine to go to. And for some of us, we have our own internal experts, members of the club, who can help guide that process. And for others, sometimes it's about getting someone else involved that's possibly more objective, but basically has an outside eye to help through that process. I know a few of the clubs in the district have paid someone to do that, and depending on how deep they go, that can be a rather expensive endeavor, but something that they felt was important. Other clubs, you might be able to find a volunteer. I know that in Northeast Ohio, there are a lot of institutions of higher education that you might be able to see if a faculty member or even a course, a class could do that as a curriculum project, might be able to take a look at.
And another source is some of our retired executives that now have time and want to give back and be of service that have joined our clubs have that expertise and have done it for years in their companies and can facilitate a strategic plan, a planning session, a visioning and a planning session.
So if this is somewhere that you decide to go, it's certainly something that makes sense to have continuity. It's not something that should be 1 year and then you basically bury it with all the other resources that you've collected, but something that should be at least a few years long, and that's where it's important to get buy-in from other people. RI, again, has a tool that can help guide you through that process, at least at the initial level. It's not going to take you that deep, but there is a course in the Learning Center, and then also there's a PDF that we will send out that basically helps guide you at least to be thinking about what can you do.
Mm-hmm.
But again, as we talked about earlier and someone pointed out, it's good to have a focus. What are those priorities? If you can accomplish A, B, and C, and then maybe get to D, E, and F your year, great. But otherwise, it just gives you something to focus on, because I guarantee you, while the year, as far as there's a lot of work to be done, it will fly by. As far as it'll be over before you begin with. So, again, this is just another tool that can help point you in the right direction as far as what you can do. All right, so those are 4 tools that we at least want to highlight. There's a lot more tools out there. If there's other things that you have questions about that we haven't addressed, raise your hand, get involved. Ask your past president or your current president, ask your assistant governor, ask someone on the leadership team, the leadership committee. We're here because we want to help you succeed. We know that if you have a great year, you're going to be having a great Rotary year that can help share it and do other things that can be spectacular.
I think you all know that we have at the district level a team that's called the LEAD team. And the LEAD team has the district trainers, the district governor. It has, I know Adam is a member of that team, and they've thought about what the next steps are. The team has been busy. They helped formulate this training seminar for Pets2 and Pets1, and now they're working on All Ohio Pets. And I'm very pleased to see that almost every one of you has signed up to go down to Ohio, All Ohio Pets. And you'll be joining all of your other district governors from all over the states. And a couple of you, Frank and Stephen, I know are going to be assisting in some of the areas. Adam's going to be there with the other assistant governors, and we will all be there. And we have some of the things that the district governors are planning is, and you've mentioned it, that you need this, and that is planning your year as president. How to tell your story and run your meeting. We have the Toastmasters that will be there, that will be helping you with how to do that. We have another one on leading Rotarians, engaging your members. Does this all sound familiar? Creating a positive public image with public image chairs. So, and we will have with us at that meeting the President-elect Holger Knack from Germany. And he'll be commissioning each of you as presidents next year. And you will receive your banner for your club. You will have your pin. You will be having a picture taken with Holger right following the dinner on Saturday night. And I think it's going to be a great event. We have a number of speakers there, including the governor who will be there. And the first night, on Friday night, there's a real fun guy that's going to be leading our program. So please come. I think you know that on the website, if you clicked on there, you can find out if you have any last-minute questions on where to park, where it's located, what to wear, all the details. There are little boxes you can click and see all the information that you'll need as you're coming down. And don't forget, our district has a hospitality room on Friday night and Saturday night. It's there just for you to come and mix together, unwind, have something to drink or snack on, and enjoy yourselves. And then following that, we have the district conference, April 24th and 25th at the Sheraton Suites in Cuyahoga Falls. And I don't know, District Governor John Reyes is here if he wants to say a few words about that.
I do. I'm hoping very much that you will be able to attend. Pat's probably already alluded to, since I've been out of the room for a while, the idea that you need your whole team there because of the way the DLA works. The conference is themed around assisting at-risk children. We have some very good speakers lined up for that, including a nationally award-winning juvenile court judge from here in Summit County. Also, on Friday afternoon, we will be introducing a somewhat new topic in many respects within the district, but one that the district is going to have to become much more active in, and that is youth protection. And it will be critical to have your incoming leadership, especially any youth safety officers, youth activity committees you have, Rotaract advisors, because this is a growing area of concern and a growing area that we need to address for a variety of reasons.
And the membership pilot?
Yes, actually the Friday afternoon luncheon program will be a presentation on a new pilot program. I know I've mentioned it at all of my club visits. We have now launched that. We have 5 clubs involved in a new pilot membership program and retention approach. And that one I think you'll find valuable as well.
So we look forward to seeing each of you there. And I wonder if, and I will stress about the team. We had one president last year who came alone, and now she regrets that she didn't bring her whole team when she saw all the other teams, you know, the clubs having their team there, and they were just talking back and forth and sharing all kinds of ideas. And there she was alone, and she said, boy, I missed an opportunity. So don't miss the opportunity to have your members of your leadership team come to the District Leadership Assembly. Anybody have any more questions or concerns or areas that you would encourage us to include? Anyone?
So there are a few more resources as far as the Learning Center that I referenced in. Like I said, you're going to get an email, a short survey on Pets2, how effective we were so we can be more successful, 4 handouts along with the PowerPoint. So the PowerPoint will give you the links to basically as far as some of what's in the Learning Center, other tools that are available, such as the district website, things that you can take advantage of, and then also as far as people that you can reach out to and ask for help. So these are some of the leaders that are available because we want to see you succeed. So as we wrap up tonight, as far as the last thing we want to do is, what other questions do you have as this part of your journey that we can help with? Things that we can do to help you be successful that we haven't addressed. Maybe we'll address it here at All Ohio Pets or the District Leadership Assembly, but something that we can answer right now.
Steve Atkins, I have to say, I'm reading your response here. I think that's fantastic. I love that you're able to do this while you have your family surrounding you and a dog barking. Thank you.
Any questions for us?
No, but thank you very much for hosting. I'm sure I speak for everyone, but we do appreciate the follow-up and appreciate the webinar format.
Yeah, that's one of the questions we'll ask. I know when I went through this, it was all day Friday before All Ohio Pets. We've done separate points, and we've kind of moved to the webinar format the last 3 years, and on nights like tonight, it's a pretty good idea, but other times we know that in-person's helpful also.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Thank you very much. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone's time and the help and the ideas and all the information of where we can find this other information. And I'm sorry I missed the last one, but work and life happen, and
yep.
Oh yeah.
It was over before I got home to log in. So I'm glad there was a second opportunity.
Well, we value your interaction. It's not just relaying information, but we know that PEs want to hear from one another. You are a valuable resource in yourself. But like I said, a second email from me with attachments and more information that you can reference. But if there's any way that we can help you be successful, please let us know.
And we'd be particularly interested on that kind of an inquiry on growing your membership.
And we appreciate your leadership. You are all leaders, and we thank you. We thank you for stepping up and becoming the leaders of your clubs.
If no other comments or questions, have a great evening, everyone. We'll see you in Columbus.
Thank you.
Be ready for fun.
Thanks. Good night.
Thank you. See you at All Ohio Pets.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.